are back on top. World champions for the 27th time. The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers. Back to throw Montana. Step up throws. This fight is over. Floyd Mayweather has a knockout victory over Ricky Hatton. Smiling. Oh! He slapped him! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world! Oh, unbelievable!
Put the countdown mic up! Hell no!
All right, I think we're good to go. Championship rounds back again. Not much of a delay this time. It's me, Marcel Pierre. I got my Hello Winter coffee cup. Funny story is, I went to stir the creamer around in this cup. I got a spoon out of the drawer. And after I was done stirring it, I'm still standing at the drawer. I almost put it back in the drawer, but I caught myself. Anyways, never mind that. Again, we're back. Championship rounds. Got a little bit to unpack. There was the exhibition Sunday night. Floyd Money Mayweather versus the Maverick Logan Paul, the older of the two Paul brothers who've been pretty polarizing and infiltrating the sporting world, well, the world of boxing, the combat sporting world. So yeah, I just thought I'd come back to, pick that apart, to say the least. I got some sound bites, a couple videos from other people's notable pundits reacting to it. But before we get into any of that, please just like, share, subscribe, comment. Any of that helps me, and I always appreciate when you do that. But enough of that. Let's get into, as I said last time, the meat and potatoes. Potatoes. First thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is the Mayweather versus Paul card. And I say card because there's a couple fights that I do want to touch on and give my opinion on. And I'm going to go with the least notable of the bunch. I say that because there was no celebrity combatant involved in this fight. So, hold on a second. The fight that I'm talking about is former unified middleweight champion Jarrett Hurd, who's been off for a while. He was in there fighting, I believe it was the co-main event, and he was in there with Luis Arias, or is it Luis? One of the two. Okay? So, this was a fight, Hurd coming in with one loss on his record by decision. Hurd is a knockout artist. That's where, that's where he butters his bread. That's how he puts food on the table. Knocking fools out. Cold demonstrations. All right, that's what he's known for. So, he's been put in there against a guy who had lost his last two fights and drew in one of the fights as well. So hadn't won a fight in 3 fights. All right, he was put in there. Let's just keep it real. He was the guy they picked for her to lay down and make a triumphant return. Well, it didn't go that way, and I feel like both of these guys took precious years off of their careers and their lives. They took years off of their lives. Both of them had no defense. Yeah, there were some punches that missed. Of course. It's a fight. It's a boxing bout. They're throwing all types of punches. So, of course, there's going to be punches that miss. But, pardon me, in this bout, in this affair, most of the punches landed to the head. Yeah, there was body strikes. There was body work done, but these guys were standing in there for the duration of the fight, taking haymakers to the head. And much to Jarrett Hurd's dismay, most of those headshots were him on the receiving end. Yes, Luis Arias unloaded on several occasions on Hurd and racked up enough rounds to win the decision. Obviously, Hurd contested it, saying, I don't care about this or that. I won this fight. Well, sorry, buddy. When the years pass, the months pass, whatever have you, and everybody looks back, it'll be an L. Okay, you'll look at your Wikipedia page and see red next to Luis Arias. And good for him. Good for him. He said that a lot of people were telling him to hang it up, to quit, this and that, and he comes in there and ekes out a split decision. So, good for you. You know what I mean? Everybody's telling you to retire after winning so many fights in a row. I think 18 it was in a row before you lost. I think you need to get a new circle. But all the time I'm going to spend on that, guys, stop taking those headshots. Boxing is dangerous. Okay? Stop taking those flush shots to the head. Oh my word. Moving on. You got ex-NFL football player standout, Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco. You know him by either or both. Yeah, he decided to also engage in an exhibition bout on this undercard. And he went in there against a guy, I believe, who had some bare-knuckle boxing experience. I don't even have his name right now. I'm not really here to talk about him. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. God, took me forever to turn that off. But, okay. Sorry about that. Not here to talk about him. I'm here to talk about Chad Ochocinco. And I'm going to make this short and sweet. So the guy gets in there. It looked like a cat fight. These guys were throwing wild haymakers. It was not real boxing. Not by any stretch. This was a bout against two guys who just didn't have that crisp, sweet science. They were just in there trying to take each other's heads off. That's pretty much how the fight went. There was hardly any jabs. Imagine a boxing bout without any jabs. I mean, obviously, you're dealing with some amateurs here. And that's what they are. No harm to it. They still got in there. They still got between the ropes, took off their robes and whatever entrance attire they chose, and went after it. So respect from that regard. But to get on the mic, Chad Ochocinco, after the bout, which you got dropped and you fell on your shoulder, yeah, you got up chirping or whatever. You finished the bout, but you got dropped by this guy, and then you get on the mic, and before you're done, your parting words were, "I think I'm ready for McGregor." You're not. You just got in there with this guy, and he dropped you. And you think you're ready for Conor McGregor? What would give you that impression? Like, you're not, buddy. Like, you need, if you really want, I mean, is that what this was about? You getting in there to say that you've done it, to try to angle for a money fight with somebody notable in the sport? Listen, you're not going to get a boxing match with Conor McGregor. Not going to happen. So, before I move on, because that's all I'm going to spend on that. Ocho, you got in there, respect, but you're not ready for anybody noteworthy. So get that mind out of your head. All right? And I don't want to see that. All right. Not to mention, he's much smaller than you. Conor McGregor is a small man. Okay? The man had his best MMA performances fighting at 145 pounds. So I'm not going to even entertain any more of that ridiculousness. All right. Let's move on. So obviously the only other fight that I'm going to cover here is the main event, Mayweather versus Paul. But before I do that, let me go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and say what I thought about the fight. I thought that obviously Floyd's game plan was to try to tire him out and then unload, like pretty much what he did to Conor McGregor. That's what he did. But you gotta keep in mind, like, this isn't Conor McGregor. This isn't a small guy. Yeah, everybody wants to be like, oh, well, he's 0-1 in boxing. He's a YouTube kid. Like, he's still a big man. But yeah, other than that, I just feel like there was just a lot of holding, a lot of trying to survive in the fight. And if that was the goal, mission accomplished. But again, before I get further into that, I'm going to go ahead and go to Floyd Money Mayweather. And this is what he had to say post-fight. So here you go.
I got a follow-up. In the fourth round, you kind of had that pep in your step after you hit Logan Paul with the left hook. How did you feel out there?
It was fun. I wanted to get the people a show, and he was fighting to survive, as you guys can see. Every time he punched, he'd clinch. Every time he'd punch, he'd clinch. He was the bigger guy, and a little awkward. Well,
a lot of
his
holding.
background is wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. So he was good at tying me up. So a guy that came in over 200 and some pounds. I came in at 155, but no excuses. I had fun tonight, and I go out there to put on a show. And I really believe that he was, just going the distance. That was a win for him, so he was happy with going the distance.
Floyd, he seemed pretty fatigued by the middle part of the fight. Were there times where you felt that you hurt him and maybe even could have gotten him out of there?
He can grapple. Yeah. He's good with holding. He's very, very good with holding. And like I said before, his background is wrestling, so when a guy over 200 and some pounds holding you, I'm trying my best. Even though I got a lot of experience, but it's hard to get a heavyweight off you. Yeah. I fight at welterweight, fighting a heavyweight. Yeah. Like I said before, I had fun. I'm pretty sure he had fun. He was the brothers, Jake as well as Logan, was so happy that his brother was able to go the distance, so it was cool.
So
his brother saying that he won the fight, I'm assuming trolling you, so to speak, but what are your thoughts on that?
He's entitled to feel. He's entitled to feel how he want to feel. I mean, a guy that's retired like myself, train a few days a week. I mean, I'm not training every day for this. For me to be retired, to be a grandfather, and to come
Grandpappy.
Have some fun with a guy that's in his 20s. When the money comes, we'll see who's the real winner.
That's a good point. Obviously, he's the A side, so he's going to be racking in the lion's share of the proceeds. So let me touch on what he just said. He mentioned that he's a smaller guy. He's retired. Like, yes, Logan came in as a heavyweight. Like, he is a heavyweight who has more reach, more size, and more durability because of his size than anybody Floyd's ever been in there with, arguably in his professional career. Is that wild to say? Okay, think about this. It's wild for me to say what I just said, right? But why is that always the narrative when a fighter is moving weight classes? Will their power translate to a heavier division? You got somebody that's fight their whole career at 146, 147 pounds, and he's going in there against a guy that's a heavyweight. There's a reason why Conor McGregor was a knockout artist at 145 pounds, and he knocked out what? One guy at 155, one guy at 170, Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, there is a reason. The power was different. They're carrying more weight. They are cutting less weight, meaning they're less dehydrated. Their brain is less dehydrated. So not only are they carrying more weight, they can take a harder strike. So everybody's going in there like, oh, Floyd should have dropped this guy, knocked him out. Okay, I'm sure he probably could have, if he really wanted to fight the fight that he would have had to fight to do so. But think about it, guys. This guy is a huge, compared to Floyd Mayweather, who again is a small man. He's going in there fighting a heavyweight, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's not a good look for Floyd. Good look, Logan. Good look." He is a much bigger guy. That matters. Okay? How is it a good look for Logan because he survived in there against a smaller guy? You think? Okay, do you think a guy who is okay, I know we're not on the street, but do you think a guy on the street is gonna take some type of anything positive away from a fight against a smaller guy that is beating on him pretty much, that he can't effectively hurt? And he's like, "Oh, well, I was in there the whole time with him. I was in there." No, obviously the more impressive thing is David beating Goliath. That's the more impressive thing. And that's what happened. Yes, Floyd Mayweather didn't get in there and knock Logan Paul out, who weighed as a heavyweight. No, but he went in there and beat him. Since when is Floyd Mayweather a knockout artist anyways? I'm going to go ahead and push on to what Logan had to say post-fight. So here we go on that.
When Floyd was in here a few minutes ago, he said that you simply came to survive tonight. What is your response to that?
It's tough. I knew if it went the distance, I won, technically. But that wasn't the game plan. When you're fighting a guy like Floyd,
I'm sure it wasn't with all that.
The legend, the boxer, kind of relying on him to figure out the game plan and then just playing off his. I think I got him with a good shot in that first round, which kind of threw him off a little bit. And I mean, yeah, surviving against Floyd Mayweather is great. He's my second opponent. He's my second opponent. Floyd Mayweather is my second opponent, and so
when people say stuff like that, it's like a built-in excuse to lose.
It's good. It was good fun.
Was there a point where he really hurt you in the fight?
No. I never got hurt. He worked the body more than I was used to in sparring. When you got a guy like Floyd who has been doing this his whole life, he knows every single button, and he worked the body more than I had been used to. But no. I do neck exercises. Like, we good. I do sit-ups. Oh, I said that to him, bro. I was whispering in his ear. He hit me in the stomach. I go, bitch, I do sit-ups.
Hi, Logan. This is Samuel Rodriguez of New Stitch Media. I was wondering, Floyd said you look like a great grappler. Would you ever try your luck in MMA?
Yeah, I was grabbing him. Yeah, I'd do MMA for sure, because I am a good grappler. I'm a wrestler at heart, and I think it'd be silly of me not to use it in boxing, to the best of my ability. Sure, yeah.
Logan, congratulations.
Thank you.
People didn't give you a chance.
Not a chance. I made a list of everyone who said I'd lose this fight. I made a list of everyone who said that Floyd was going to dictate exactly how it went. And I'm posting it like you're all fucked. Mike Tyson's on it. I love Mike Tyson, but he's on it. He told me on my own podcast, Floyd's going to beat his fucking ass. That's what he said. Floyd didn't beat my fucking ass, Mike.
What do you classify, quote unquote, an ass whooping? Because some guy teeing off on you and you holding on for dear life, if that ain't an ass whooping, I'd really like to know what your definition of an ass whooping was. Floyd exited the fight the same way he entered the fight. Not a mark on his face. Okay? He's a smaller guy teeing off on you. I mean, by my estimation, that was an ass whooping. And again, when you come in and you say, "Oh, well, this is only my second fight," that is a built-in excuse. That's you probably said that to yourself coming in. It wasn't about winning. Pretty much what Floyd said. It wasn't about winning. It was about survival. So you can say what you wanted to say. And circling back to Floyd's post-fight interview, where they said that Jake said that Logan won. Well, when you don't have any type of judges or any decision being rendered at the end of the bout, that leaves everything open for interpretation. However, everybody in attendance saw what played out. They might have been entertained, they might not have been entertained, but they know who won this fight. They do. But again, that's open for interpretation because of how the rule set was set up. Anyhow, so you got Logan Paul, who is now, well, I guess he's still 0-1 in boxing since this was an exhibition. So he's feeling pretty good after this. He didn't get dropped. He didn't get knocked out, obviously. But, I mean, there is footage of where it looks like Floyd caught him with a good punch and another follow-up that sent him hurling over a bit. And from the looks of this, it looks like Floyd was holding him up. We weren't in there. You weren't in there. I wasn't in there. And everybody else that has something to say and has an opinion about this wasn't in there. Looks like it, but we don't know. And none of them have came out to say that it did occur that way. Floyd didn't say that. And Logan, obviously, bravado. Oh, yeah, he didn't hurt me at all. Yeah. I mean, he went to the body a little bit more than I thought, more than I was used to in training, but he didn't hurt me. Yeah, of course you're not going to say you got hurt. But everybody watching saw those crisp blows you took right to the face and right on the chin. So that's what they both had to say post-fight. And, again, no winner. It was about fun and money. Money first, really. And there was a lot of money to be made. And I'm going to talk about that. But beforehand, let me just touch on the whole exhibition thing. People that are weighing in that have an opinion of negativity, saying, oh, well, Floyd is disrespecting boxing. Even people have said after this fight took place that Floyd tainted his legacy by not knocking this guy out. I completely disagree. Floyd is an older man now. He's older. And again, he was in there against the biggest man he's ever boxed. Exhibitions. How is he disrespecting boxing? Did Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, when he engaged in exhibitions, did he disrespect the sport? Is anybody talking about that? No. When Muhammad Ali, Antonio Inoki, Japan, professional wrestler, was he disrespecting the sport? No. Nobody said that he was. The most iconic, arguably the most iconic boxing movie of all time, Rocky. You know, Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa. Mighty Mick. You know, you could have been a contender, Rock, but now you're a bum. A bum. That movie. They even had an exhibition in one of the movies there where he did an exhibition against Hulk Hogan. I think he went by Thunder Lips or something like that. So, if they are portraying a notable boxer doing that in a movie, why is it wild for Floyd Mayweather to do that down the road? Because people hate how much money he's making off of this bullshit. That's what it is. People they don't like it because they aren't getting paid for it. If they received a check, they would be first in line to say, hey, this was fun. This was entertaining. You know, I liked it. I'd watch again. But they're not getting that check. So they have to spew salt and negativity. A little bit of mama's cooking, if you will, Kwame Brown. On top of this, negatively. And that's why so many people have so much negative things to say. You know, I'm going to make my rounds to what the notable pundits are saying. So I'm going to go back to Stephen A. Smith and this is what he said about whether or not this was good for the sport of boxing or not. So this is Stephen A. on First Take, I believe.
I don't think it was good for boxing. I really don't. I'm disappointed in it. And, you know, the state of Florida would have sanctioned about a 35-pound difference. Floyd Mayweather came in heavier than he's ever been, usually fighting at 145 to 147. Fought at 155 last night. Logan Paul was at 189.5 pounds. Mm-hmm. It was like watching Rocky against Drago, for crying out loud. I'm talking about before they actually started boxing. I'm just talking about the size, just the appearance. I just look at it from this perspective. I love what Logan Paul and Jake Paul have done in terms of showing the boxing public that there's a way to make this money and to gain notoriety for yourself without being at the mercy of the promoters. if you want to say that it's good for boxing, I think that it's good from the standpoint that it puts pressure on the promoters, in my estimation, or it should put pressure for them to give us the fights that we want to see. Like, for example, there's no reason on earth that we should not see
Crawford
versus Errol Spence.
Right. Definitely.
We should see that.
And Errol Spence stole the Pacquiao fight from Crawford. We'll get there.
But Wilder gets Fury for a third time again. Maybe Andre Ward will come out of retirement, Max. You'll know about that one day. I love Canelo Alvarez. He's my favorite fighter right now, and I think he's pound for pound #1 in the world. You want to see those kind of things. But when I look at this, and I just say to myself, a world-class, all-world champion like Floyd Money Mayweather, giving a YouTuber this opportunity, who's had one fight on his professional record, and then you last 8 rounds, that's going to give life to novices out there who don't belong in the same class as these guys to think that they can do stuff like this. And I think that it's going to compromise the quality level of competition that we all salivate for when it really, really comes to boxing.
Listen, that's why there is weight classes. You said that that's going to give some novice the audacity or the gall to do something else like this. They're not going to be fighting somebody that outweighs them by as much as Logan Paul outweighed Mayweather. Like, coming in, you know what I mean? Everybody knew this was a mismatch from a size and a skill perspective. It was a mismatch on Logan's side for size, and it was a mismatch on Mayweather's side for skill. Again, I can't drive this home enough. There are weight classes for a reason. And people ask, is there strength? Is there speed? Is there power gonna translate in a higher weight class? Why would anybody ask that question if it don't matter? Oh, well, Logan hasn't, he ain't boxed like that. He's boxed. He's trained boxing. He's had a professional bout. He's trained. He knows how to punch. He knows how to defend himself. He is much heavier, much larger. Listen, I do agree from the perspective, even though Stephen A said that the Paul brothers, Jake Paul in particular, was good for the sport. I played that sound clip on my last show. But here, he's saying it's bad for the sport of boxing. And so he's on one side of the fence and on the other side the next day, pretty much. I mean, that's Stephen A for you. But at the end of the day, is this even about boxing? No. On my last show, I said, hey, these guys have a built-in audience. The people that are showing up are there to see these guys. They are not looking at boxing from a big perspective saying, oh, this is what boxing's all about? Oh, well, I think I'll tune in to the next fight and, catch Kell Brook. No, they don't give a damn about Kell Brook. They might not even know who he is. This is not... Most hardcore boxing fans don't want to be anywhere near this. They are holding on to, oh, this is disrespectful and blase. They don't want anything to do with this. They don't want this to happen. So how is this a bad look on boxing when you got a retired boxer who's 40 plus in there with a YouTuber? He's retired. This is not even a professional bout, and everybody knew it coming in. This is an exhibition. No, definitely not bad for the sport, because this had very, very little to even do with the sport. It just happened to be boxing. Soulja Boy came out and said, oh, I started this celebrity boxing wave. Yeah, you were supposed to box, Chris Brown, maybe somebody else. Never happened. Okay, and then somebody else jumped on it and got in there with opponents. The Paul brothers. So you might have put the idea out there, but these guys hopped on the train and they're riding all the way to the bank with it. So you heard what Stephen A said. Now let's hear what his counterpart, Kellerman, had to say on, is this good for boxing? Bad for boxing? This is Max.
I don't think it was bad for boxing at all. I don't think it was a bad night. First of all, Floyd Mayweather's retired, and he's never coming out of retirement. He already made that clear.
Yes.
That was not Floyd Mayweather in a professional prize fight. That was Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition, which he deemed entertainment. He told everybody ahead of time what it was going to be.
He did.
This is no buyer beware. He told you. It's not like he sold you a false bill of goods. He told you this is an exhibition. I'm going to go out and have fun, which is what he did.
Thanks.
Now, Logan Paul built up enough of a following, I would say, in social media, 20 million people, that he brings a lot of economic clout to events. And since he's much bigger than Floyd, and Floyd's been retired for years and everything, there was something about it that was intriguing. We can't pretend it wasn't. Who didn't want to see it? People bought it. Because this is all you need to know. Ding, ding, round one. You watching, yes or no? Floyd and Logan Paul? Oh, yeah, you're watching. That's all you need to know. Everything else doesn't matter. And does it hurt boxing? Let me tell you, you brought up Rocky and Drago, right, Stephen A.? That's not the right Drago reference. The right Drago reference is Apollo and Drago. What you don't want is that in an exhibition, right? Oh, no one got knocked out, and Floyd just kind of played with him after the second round and walked him down and kind of didn't really want to finish him, it seemed, and all that. Do we want the opposite? We want Floyd to kill him? Right? Is that what we're looking for? Do we want Logan Paul, rushed to a hospital in an ambulance? Is that what we're looking for? No, it's an exhibition. Were you entertained? Yeah, I was entertained. By the way, good undercard, Hurd and Arias. That was an upset, real good fight. You got to see Ocho Cinco. That was a night of entertainment. Now, it was, you don't want to pay $50 the next time one of the Paul brothers fights or Mayweather. Don't do it. No one's forcing you. But I'll tell you this. There are some events people try to make, and the public's just like, I don't care. That wasn't this. People cared. I got no beef.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say here. Like, people can crap over anything that is put out there, or they can embrace it. All right? If you don't like it, as Dana White used to always say, if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know what I mean? But why is there so much negativity spewed on over the top of this? Like, these guys were successful. They made a lot of money. You knew it was an exhibition coming in. You couldn't bet on who won this fight because there was no winner rendered. And you knew that coming in. So how was, no, I'm with Max on this. There is no way that this could have been bad for boxing. Everybody knew what it was coming in, and nobody got significantly hurt. I mean, that is a win-win. I know that combat sporting fans and people that even think about boxing, they want knockdowns, knockouts. They want blood. That's not always what happens. This was an exhibition. You want a knockdown? Badu Jack. Weird fight. His opponent almost got disqualified. Knocked him out with body shots. Ocho Cinco took one to the head. Hit the canvas. Okay? You want knockouts? Jarrett Hurd and Luis Arias, they stood in the pocket pretty much and gave each other everything they had. All right? And there was knockouts. Or knockdowns, rather. So, all I'm saying is, they were complaining about how slick the canvas was, but neither here nor there. All I'm saying was, those were professional bouts. Not the Ocho Cinco bout, but the other two I named, those were professional bouts. These were exhibitions. If you knew what you were signing up for, why complain? Because they don't care. All they care about is that you watch. And everybody that's going on social media or using their platform to dig a grave and toss this exhibition card, bout, whatever, inside and cover it up with the dirt, you're the guys that are getting them the money. You're keeping the word out there on this. Even the people that didn't watch are probably watching after the fact so they can see what you guys are talking about. And you know what that gives? Traffic. Social media traffic, which generates revenue. Dollars. So, these guys are smart. Both the Paul brothers and Mayweather, obviously. So, that's what they had to say on First Take. I'm going to move on to the other side of the fence. This is what they had to say on Undisputed, I believe. And this is the first one I'm going to go to now is Shannon. And this is what Shannon Sharp, had to say about what he witnessed.
Floyd has made a career, made his living on not taking unnecessary risk. And he wasn't going to walk. This kid, look, he's 50 pounds heavier than Floyd at the fight. Skip, he's so much bigger. And Floyd is, what, 44 years of age. And the hand speed and the precision is not there anymore. He knows it. And for me, look, Floyd's like, if I can pick up a quick $20, $30 million, however much he made, Skip, it was more than had he not taken the fight he could have made. He's like, I'm not taking any risk. But Paul did land a few good shots on Floyd. He hit him with a couple of shots. I don't think it hurt Floyd, but he did land a couple of shots. But the thing is, Skip, you hurt his corner. That's the greatest fight of all time. And you laughed with him. Skip, it was just about him getting in there and finishing the fight.
Exactly.
It wasn't about him beating Floyd.
Absolutely not.
He just wanted to finish to say, a YouTuber. I do jokes, I eat Legos, I step on your, I jump out of plane, I do all this crazy stuff. And I went 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. I've done something that a lot of boxers can't say they did, and they're trained in this. And I did it. So for me, Skip, I think Floyd just looked. Floyd, you done made enough money. You convinced me to watch damn near every fight you've ever fought on pay-per-view. The ones I didn't attend in person, I watched on pay-per-view. Floyd, let this go now. Floyd wasn't in shape to fight. Now, he wasn't in Skip Floyd. Floyd is a naturally small man. He only weighed 155. Floyd's only going to walk around at 155. That's why he can fight his whole career at 147. Yep. Skip, all he's taking, you go to camp for 8 weeks, you're going to drop 8 pounds easy. So that's why he was never tasked to like, oh, man, he barely made weight. Because he's a naturally small man. He's a naturally 50-poundish man. Who he only fought once at 154. And he didn't even make that. He fought at like 150. So for me, it wasn't entertaining. It was just a bunch of hugging and holding on. Floyd was not going to take the risk to put himself in harm's way the way he would need to knock Jake Paul out. I think Jake Logan.
That's what I said earlier. He's lucky it wasn't Jake Paul, or he might have been in trouble.
Yes.
Jake was a lot during the whole thing.
Yeah.
But Skip, Logan Paul was so much bigger than Floyd. Floyd has never fought a man that much bigger than he is. So now all of a sudden you got to punch up instead of just punch, even, kill. But I was disappointed because I thought I would, even if he didn't knock him out, I thought he'd get a lot more shots than what he did on him. But I thought the kid did pretty well for himself.
He did.
Look, I don't think that. I mean, I don't disagree with a lot of the stuff Shannon said, but when he goes on about saying Floyd, let this go, he's already let it go. He's retired. He's been let it go. Okay? Like, let what go? The money? The money that he can still generate doing exhibitions post-career? Keyword, post. He's been let it go, Shannon. Like, let this man live. Like, he's already given you, multiple-time world champion at multiple different weight classes, fighting the best boxers in the world. Mosley, De La Hoya, Maidana, Pacquiao. Like, I don't even need to keep going down the list. He's given you everybody. And he's beaten them all. He's been let it go. He's retired. So, I'm not knocking the man at all. Keep getting those checks. And because I'm such a combat sports junkie, me and the rest of the people like me are going to tune in every single damn time. So, yeah, as far as you saying, let this go, Floyd, there is no reason to let this go. The cash cow is still alive. This man is making more money than the rest of the professional boxers in the sport. More than Canelo Alvarez. Take that into perspective. Why would he let that go? Is he getting hurt? No. Yeah, he might be a shell of himself. He's plus 40. Of course he's a shell of himself. But he's not out there getting battered. Not by any stretch. There is no reason to let this go. Now let's go to his counterpart on the show, and this is what Mr. Skip Bayless had to say about it.
Even though this did not count on Floyd's record, obviously it's 50-0.
Yeah.
You bet your ass.
Floyd's legacy in my mind, because I carefully watched it, thinking it was going to be a joke.
Right.
I think most people thought it was going to be Ringling Brothers in the ring, right? Just a circus. And even in the pre-fight interview that they did on Showtime, Floyd admitted, he said, I'm retired from boxing, but I'm not retired from entertaining.
Right.
And he said,
entertainment.
I'm paraphrasing how he said it, but he said, I'm trying to decide, should I just knock him out early or should I let it last for a while?
Right.
Because that's what he thought was about to happen. That did not happen.
Right.
In fact, Floyd tried to just peekaboo him for the first 2 rounds, just sort of feel him out. In the second round, he resorted to some Ali rope-a-dope,
Yeah, he tried to tire him out. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the third round, Floyd got tagged a couple of times.
Yeah,
Not that he got hurt or knocked down, but he got tagged.
Right.
And it ticked him off.
Mm-hmm.
And he got mad and he started coming full force.
Right.
Whatever he had left at 44, he was throwing at Logan Paul in the third round. And I have never seen Floyd Mayweather Jr., the greatest defensive fighter ever, not a great knockout puncher, but still a good puncher.
Right.
I've never seen him swing and miss so much because he swung and missed with a bunch of haymakers. And I know the stats are tilted way in Floyd's favor because Floyd landed 43 of only 107 punches, while Logan Paul was 28 of 217. Logan Paul threw 207. He threw 110 more punches than Floyd did. So he was coming. He was trying.
Right.
And he's not a bad technical boxer, or he would have gone down.
Yeah.
Because the point was, not only did Floyd not knock him out, he never even knocked him down one time.
No.
Not one time was Logan Paul what you'd say was in trouble in that fight.
Nope.
Not one time.
Nope.
He had a little bit of a mouse under one eye. He took a couple of whacks. Floyd got in the better shots.
Yeah, he had the cleaner shots.
And I tried to score it. I know it wasn't being scored.
Right.
But just very simply, I gave Floyd 5 out of 8 rounds. So if it had counted, he would have won on points. It would have been fairly close, but he would have won on, at least on my card. I saw ESPN's card. They had it about the same.
Right.
All right. Well, obviously, Skip says that taints Floyd's legacy in his mind. He said that if he was in there with Jake, he would have been in trouble probably. Like, again, the man is retired. His legacy is already what his body of work that he put together to create that legacy when he went from Money Mayweather, or not, when he went from Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather to wanting to be in exciting fights, knock people out, and get people's respect, to turning into Money Mayweather, where he's like, hate me, love me, but watch me. He traded, to borrow from Marcellus Wiley, he traded in respect for the check. And he is done now. He's been retired. You could say Andre Berto was his last fight if you don't count McGregor. But he's retired. Tenshin Nasukawa exhibition after the Conor McGregor fight. And now we get Logan Paul. These are obviously not professional bouts. So why does this even have anything to do with his legacy? If you're saying that this taints Floyd Mayweather's legacy, what does that say about Canelo's legacy, Pacquiao's legacy, Berto's legacy, Maidana? You get what I'm saying? Like, what does it say about all the people's legacy that he defeated soundly? Miss me with that nonsense. The man's legacy is already cemented. Don't get on that train, because that train will bear don't climb the tree, because that's not going to bear any fruit. All right, don't do it. So, Skip, I know you wanted to say something controversial, something that would get people talking, a hot take, but the man's legacy is already cemented. Hate it or love it. Hate it or love it, the underdog is on top. I'm not going to go any further with that. So we got Skip, you got Shannon, you got Max, you got Stephen A. We saw what they said, Logan and Floyd post-fight. So the last person we're going to hear from is UFC president Dana White, because they're always asking Dana about this. You know what I mean? I know he doesn't particularly like it, but they're always asking. This is from an exclusive interview he did with UFC Arabia. And this is what Dana's reaction to the fight was.
I know you're not big on the kind of the boxing extravaganza stuff that's been going on, but I did want to ask you, when you see these kind of boxing matches, I know you put Zuffa boxing on hold at the end of last year. Does it kind of make you like want to start something or get a venture going when you kind of see these kind of like boxing?
When I see what kind of fights does it make me want to get going? Last night?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm saying
that wasn't a fucking boxing match.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Does it make you want to like get your own?
Like I said before, man, there's always going to be a market for that kind of stuff. There's always going to be people that are willing to put down $50 to watch that kind of stuff. That's not even so far away from what I imagine. Think about this. Imagine if Kim Kardashian wanted to fight Amanda Nunes. How big do you think that fight would be? Huge. It'd be the biggest.
Yeah.
Kim K versus Amanda Nunes.
Give me a fucking break.
No, not with you, but I did not mean that you'd want to put those kind of matches. I meant that would it like, is it making you kind of want to fix the boxing model after seeing that kind of stuff?
No, it's just, you know, it's exactly what boxing has always been. You know, you create this energy around a fight where you're like, oh yeah, this, that. Then you watch it, then you turn the TV off and go, man, I just wasted another, you know, another evening. I should have went out and did something else. I don't ever want people feeling like that when they turn the TV off, watching, you know, some of our fights. And you know what, you're going to have
some fights are like that.
You know, you'll have a card one night and they'll be like, oh, this card, blah 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 blah. Then you watch the card, and the card is unbelievable. You at least get, you know, 2, 3, or 4 great fights that, you know, you probably didn't expect. And then when you turn the TV off, you're glad you watched it. That's the product that I sell. That's what I'm into. Like I said, I'm not trying to shit on these other guys. Let them.
That's exactly what you're doing.
If you've got people that are stupid enough to spend that kind of money, you deserve to take those dummies' money. They deserve it. You know. The guys who went out and fought and got you to pay $50, they deserve your money. You're stupid.
So he's not going to crap over those guys for making the money and doing what they're doing, but at the same time, he is going to crap on them, and the people that buy and watch are dumb. So, you know, that's Dana. You know what I mean? So exactly. There is a lane for these guys doing what they're doing because it is not professionally, it's not even sanctioned. Like, it's Dana wants to take this high ground saying, oh, those guys over there, you know what I mean, they can do what they want to do. That's not what I do here. Obviously, Kim K versus Amanda Nunes would do game busters. Everybody and their mother would tune in to see Kim K take the fade. And she would definitely take the fade. I mean, you're talking about the greatest women's mixed martial artist to ever do it. Unless you think Cyborg still is. But it would be an absolute massacre. Kim K would not be recognizable after the fact. Either that, or she's going to... Well, let's be real. I don't even know why I'm entertaining this. Like, Kim K is going to tap to either strikes or a submission in seconds. So, not even going to go far that way. But Dana put it out there to pretty much paint a picture of how much of a freak show what just happened Sunday was. But he's not going to crap on those guys. The fans are dumb, but he's not going to crap on those guys. Look, I'm going to segue away from those fights. We all saw what happened. We're taking away from it what we are, but I'm going to segue away from that into fighter pay. Because a lot was made about Floyd making 9 figures, Logan cashing what's looking like 20 million. Like, Francis Ngannou made a tweet, and he said, and I quote, that he couldn't believe, well, I guess I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing, but he couldn't believe that Logan Paul got paid 20 million for an exhibition. What are we doing wrong? That's what he tweeted. Left it open-ended. Okay? So, Logan Paul, again, Logan Paul has millions and millions of subscribers and followers on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. These guys are following this guy from wherever he goes. He has, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. a built-in fan base. Francis, if you had 20 million followers who everything you did, they're going to tune in, they're going to pay their hard-earned dollars to watch, then you would be getting paid those dollars too. You would, because there would be no way to deny you. Maybe the UFC's infrastructure and how they have things set up to where they pay fighters. Look, when you become a champion or a very popular fighter, you get what's called, and I'm sure you're familiar with, pay-per-view points. All right? And if your pay-per-views do game busters, you're going to get cake. All right? I'm not even being funny. You're going to be like Scrooge McDuck. Like, you're going to do that. And that's why these guys get millions and millions of dollars to do what they do. You got somebody on the A side, Floyd Mayweather, and he is getting $100 million. He's very, very notable. He's been one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid athlete in sports for a long time. So obviously he's getting millions. Then you take a guy who's got that fan base. Look, Conor McGregor. Everybody's like, oh, well, and even me, I started out a fan of Conor McGregor. But once I feel like he was getting things he didn't exactly earn ahead of guys that I feel like paid their dues, I fall back on him. I was like, oh man, I can't even stay on the Conor McGregor train anymore because like Dana White is just, it's not fair is what I thought. That's what I thought at the time. But if I was working for them, they're smart as hell. They absolutely maximized Conor McGregor's buying power. The man came with a built-in audience, an entire country that traveled to see him, that went to the box office in droves to buy the pay-per-view. Of course, he's the highest paid mixed martial artist in history because his fan base. So that goes for everybody else that wants to make any type of money in mixed martial arts, like, or in anything. No matter what you do. This podcast I'm doing right now, I'm doing this for fun. But if I got 1 million subscribers, 20,000, I'd start making money because I have an audience. And having an audience is valuable. So, I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to, listen, everybody's giving John Bones Jones, a hard time because they're like, oh, why won't you take the Francis fight? You're under contract. You're under contract. Hold on a second. Yeah, they're saying you're under contract. So why can't you just fight this fight under the contract that you already signed and that you're already on? You know what I mean? That just makes no sense. That is selling yourself short. Him or anybody else. And listen, I'm trying to pull up this soundbite because this is what Conor McGregor even said about Eddie Alvarez not renegotiating their fight when they were fighting at MSG. And yeah, he was giving Eddie Alvarez a hard time because Eddie Alvarez was under contract and decided to just fight under that contract. This is your king, Conor McGregor, on that.
Imagine that. Imagine getting the biggest fight in the history of the game and saying, shut your mouth, kid. You're getting paid what you got your last fight, and you're lucky you're even getting that.
Listen to that. How ridiculous does that sound? And listen, man, you got Dana White. Again, the UFC, or he did an interview with UFC Arabia, and I guess, like, people were getting excited. They're like, oh, the UFC's actually trying to look after these fighters and look out for their well-being. They do. I'm sure they do. I'm talking about the guys that fizzle in and fizzle out, the guys that aren't the same after they're done with this sport. And on Instagram, there was somebody asked Dana about a lifetime health policy, and Dana White responded soon, which got everybody excited about the potential benefit for fighters. But this is what Dana said regarding that on the interview he did with UFC Arabia. Right here.
And you had mentioned, I think it was a Q&A that you did with Karen Bryant, that somebody had asked you about long-term health benefits for fighters, and you responded saying soon. Is that something that you've recently kind of been working on? Do you kind of have any update or information on that?
Yeah. That wasn't a Q&A. That was on Instagram.
Right.
And
yeah.
actually, I responded to the wrong guy when I said soon. That was wrong, actually. I actually noticed that later that I had said soon, but it was on the wrong post. I wasn't talking to that guy. It was somebody else.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm sure that you guys can sit there and laugh about that. No, it's funny, it's funny, it's funny. So UFC fighters, hey, there ain't no long-term healthcare benefits coming for you. It's funny. It was a joke. It was the wrong guy. It was the wrong post. So don't get excited about that. All right? You got Nate Diaz responding to Francis Ngannou's tweet about what are we doing wrong, saying that what you need to ask yourself what you're doing wrong. See, Nate Diaz was under contract for the longest. He was under the same contract that he was on when he won the Ultimate Fighter. Yes, you get the 6-figure contract, but they drag it out. They're eventually going to pay you the 6 figures, you know, in so many fights. So Nate Diaz, for the longest, wouldn't fight. Give me a new contract. Dana White comes out, oh, he don't move the needle, whatever. He moved the needle, and then you see him in there fighting Conor McGregor, fighting Benson Henderson for the belt, fighting RDA, or whoever else he fought. So, Masvidal. So, exactly, having that audience is the most valuable thing anybody can have that is competing where they need viewership. I mean, it's just clear. Like, so when you're one of the Stockton's favorite sons, or you're Ireland's favorite son, or a Disney kid who all the Disney people followed you and so have you, you're gonna have that audience. So Francis, you're knocking boys out. You're captivating everybody in this space. Not gonna say anything negative about that. But if you want that type of audience and you want that type of money, you're gonna have to do more than knock people out. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? You're not the first to knock boys out. And there will be more people knocking people out when you're done. So I touched all over that, and I'm kind of going long here, so I'm gonna round this out and wrap it up. All right, make sure I don't have anything else to touch on here. Yeah, I gave it all. So let me just go ahead and end this. We're gonna round out a couple things. All right, Alistair Overeem signs a multi-fight deal with Glory Kickboxing. Good luck to you, Alistair. I know you're a former K1 champion, open weight champion. So I hope you go over there and do some good things where you don't have to worry about the grappling aspect of combat sports. And yeah, more power to you on that. Oh, I got one more thing to play for you. This is a video. Ask yourself, is this a shoot or a work? I mean, do these guys really think this is believable? So you got Vitor Belfort in the gym with some guy named Tarzan. I don't even know who he is. But hey, check this out. Check this out.
I want to learn how to be a warrior, a champion. So here we are, boxing gym.
Alright guys, here we are at the gym. I'm with my boy Tarzan. Whoa, was that Vitor? Vitor Belfort?
Obviously.
Man, that guy's a UFC legend. He's got like 17 or 18 knockouts.
Tarzan, man, that's the animal guy. He's filming and everything.
Yeah, bro, I want to learn. You're looking good, man. I want to see what you guys do.
Oh, shoot. Whoa.
Come on, man. I want to learn to fight. I want to fight.
But for what?
Because I want to be a warrior like you.
But listen, man, this jungle is my jungle. It's undomesticated animals over here. I know you deal with animals, man, but here's not the place you be.
I mean, you're hot, man. I understand. I just want to come learn, man.
Listen, man, please.
I want to fight.
Please get out of here. This is my gym, man.
Come on, man. Relax, bro. Calm down a little bit.
I'm willing to bet all of King Midas's gold that no one was hurt during the shooting of this work. Alright? None of this was real. So, cool. Vitor's out there. He's in the boxing ring. He's going to box soon. Let's move on, because I'm trying to get out of here. So, Scott Coker came out and said that Logan Paul is absolutely welcome to compete in the Bellator cage. He said he would try MMA, so I guess that's open for him. His brother signed to Showtime, who is pretty close with Bellator. So you know, Dana's taking the high road saying, I just don't do that kind of thing. So he did CM Punk. He did, you know, James Toney. Well, I guess James Toney had the boxing, you know, acumen or pedigree rather. But yeah, you got Scott Coker on one side, you got Dana White on the other. Logan Paul and Jake Paul are going to do their thing regardless. Let's see, what else do we got here? Rosenstruck. Jairzinho Rosenstruck stops Augusto Sakai. So look for him to get in there with a top 5 opponent and try to work his way into a title shot. Ariel Helwani is, you know, MMA's Howard Cosell, if you will, is leaving ESPN, and he didn't announce anything, but he did have an Instagram video where he said there were some big things, some exciting things on the horizon. So hopefully he lands in a good spot. So best of wishes to you, Ariel Helwani. And Dana White also confirmed that Nick Diaz, yes, not Nate, Nick, will be fighting this year. I'm fucking pumped up for that. So if it comes straight from the horse's mouth, Dana said it's gonna happen, Nick's saying it's gonna happen, bring it the hell on. Last thing, UFC 263 this weekend. I'll definitely be back for another show. I'm looking to cash out and get the bag. I will have my picks complete with all my analysis. Until next time, stay frosty.
Cause I don't know what it mean when you act like that, but I know what you mean when you say you would like that. I wrote you a love letter, hope you write back. Straight in your DMs, I'm hoping that you type back. Don't get mad, don't get mad. I could be the one that you lean on when it's bad. I could give you all the hugs when you be sad. I could give you all the love you wishing you had. Did you mean it when you say you love me? Did you mean it when you say your heart feel me trusting? If you feel me trusting you, tell me, would you tell the truth? If we really going through it, would you leave without a clue? Jumping like a kangaroo at the sound of your call.